They have made you safe, but not strong. You have a job, but no purpose. You are surrounded by noise, but you do not speak. The world no longer asks who you are, it asks, what function do you serve? And if you cannot serve, you are forgotten. This is the age of the disposable man. He is not hunted, he is not oppressed, he is not conquered, he is simply replaced. You see him every day. He scrolls endlessly, he obeys quietly, he trades his soul for salary and calls it a good life. He is not poor in gold, he is bankrupt in will. He is taught to be agreeable, not great, useful, not unique, and when he breaks, another takes his place. No one notices, because he was never really there. This is not life, this is existence on lease. Once, men were carved by hardship, tempered by failure, and raised by vision. Now they are processed, standardized, neutralized, safe, and slowly erased. You are not born to be this, not one of you. Inside every man is the original fire, the will to build, to conquer, to become. But fire untended dies, and most today never even strike the match. You must choose to matter. The world will not give you meaning. It will give you distraction. It will give you comfort. And then it will give you a quiet death. You must fight to be irreplaceable, not with loud words but with bold action. Study what others avoid. Say what others fear. Do what others delay. Be the man who cannot be replicated because he wills himself into existence. History does not remember the agreeable, it remembers the necessary. Do not wait to be chosen. Choose yourself, forge yourself, lead yourself, because the rise of the disposable man will only end with the return of the dangerous one, not in violence, but in virtue, not in rage, but in reason. Not in numbers, but in one man who decides, I will not be forgotten. They gave you rules, but not a spine. They told you to be nice, but never to be necessary. You were not taught how to stand. You were taught how to sit, quietly, to behave, to blend, to ask for permission before becoming anything real. The modern man is not ruled by kings. He is ruled by moods, by likes, by policies, by algorithms he doesn't understand. His opinions are outsourced. His values are imported. His confidence is borrowed from pills, praise, or posts. He was not raised to be sovereign. He was trained to be safe. They told him he was free while quietly building the cage. Not of iron, but of comfort. Not with chains, but with choices that never cost. He doesn't fight because he forgot what for. He doesn't lead because he fears being alone. He doesn't dream because dreaming hurts, and no one taught him how to endure pain without panicking. He learns to stay neutral, stay polite, stay useful, but never dangerous, never decisive, never divine. The man who once built civilizations now needs a therapist to ask for a raise. This is not a judgment. This is a diagnosis. Sovereignty is not inherited. It is earned by suffering, by resisting ease, by refusing to be diluted by convenience. But the new man fears discomfort more than disgrace. He numbs. He scrolls, he waits, he disappears. He thinks peace means nothing is wrong. But peace without power is not peace, it's sedation. You were not designed to be neutral. You were built to act, to choose, to create meaning from chaos. But when you avoid chaos, you avoid your own becoming. And here's the truth most won't say: no one is coming to restore your sovereignty. No system, no savior, no app. If you want your crown back, you must take it from your own reflection. Inner sovereignty means this: you are the source, you are the fire, you do not wait, you decide. But decision is violent to the passive man, because to decide is to cut off all other options, and he's been trained to keep every door open even if it kills him slowly. So he becomes a man of maybe, a man of someday, a man of if only. And the world has no place for maybes, only those who know, who will, who dare. Sovereignty means you own your life, that your habits are your throne. Your discipline is your army, your vision is your command, but he has no command, because he has no command of himself. He is pulled by every wave of opinion, pushed by every new outrage, moved by every meaningless trend, but never moved by principle, because principle requires pain, and he's allergic to it. Ask yourself, when was the last time you decided something that cost you? Not a preference, not a wish, a true decision. One that burned bridges, that hurt, that exposed your spine to the world. If the answer is, I can't remember, then maybe you've never actually lived as a sovereign man, because the sovereign man is not the loudest. He is the most rooted. He does not shout. He does not beg, he does not chase, he simply becomes, and the world adjusts. But to become, you must stop performing, you must stop living for applause, for agreement, for the illusion of good enough. The sovereign man doesn't need to be told who he is, because he's already paid the price to find out. He doesn't wait for the world to declare his value, he declares it with every act, every boundary, every sacrifice. This is not romantic. It is brutal. It is ugly. It is necessary, because if you don't rule yourself, you will be ruled by fear, by comfort, by convenience masquerading as wisdom. And this is where the disposable man was born, from the ruins of men who once ruled within, not because he was too weak, but because he stopped wanting to be strong. He handed over his fire for a phone, his edge for approval, his mind for noise, and he calls it freedom. But deep down he knows he is not free, he is managed, and that is the quiet tragedy, that he could be anything, but he chose to be safe. This is where we begin, not with anger, not with shame, but with a brutal mirror and the man staring back, asking, will I rule, or be ruled? When man stopped ruling himself, he was handed a system to obey. And systems don't need men, they need parts. The moment you lost sovereignty, they found a use for you, not a purpose, not a destiny, a utility. You became an input, a cog, a repeatable line of code in someone else's machine. You were given a job description, a checklist, a script, and told this is life. But machines don't care if the part thinks, only that it fits. Mass systems do not reward individuality, they punish it, because individuality slows the machine. It questions the script. It breaks the cycle of silent compliance. So they train you to be replaceable, early, quietly, efficiently. You are taught to memorize, not to master, to meet expectations, not to exceed them, to follow rules, not to write new ones. The goal is never your greatness. It is your predictability. They tell you it's all for order, for fairness, for equality, but what they mean is control, because mass systems are built on one idea: the fewer men who matter, the easier they are to manage. And so the myth is sold: be good, get your credentials, fit in, don't question, do your time, and maybe, if you're lucky, you'll get to climb the ladder. But here's the secret: the ladder only leads to another room with thicker walls. More status, more comfort, less soul, because mass systems do not make kings. They make middle managers, and the tragedy: most men have accepted this fate not out of fear, but out of fatigue. It is easier to be a function than a force. To be told where to go, what to do, who to be, because the system provides, it feeds you, it entertains you, it flatters you as long as you don't become too real. Step out of line, and you'll feel it, the silence. The exile, the subtle deletion of a man no longer convenient. So most don't rebel, they adapt, they shrink, they polish their masks, they turn ambition into anxiety, curiosity into compliance, spirit into silence. They become excellent at staying invisible while pretending they're free, but they feel it, that gnawing tension, that dull ache behind the eyes, that whisper saying, this is not it. Because a man can play a role for only so long before the role starts to rot his soul. You were not made for standardization, you were made for sovereignty, for decisions that matter, for risks that cost, for victories that scar, but none of that exists in the machine, only efficiency, only substitution. One man leaves, another enters, no disruption, no mourning, no memory, because when you allow yourself to be processed, you forfeit the right to be irreplaceable. They'll tell you the machine is unstoppable. That rebellion is childish, that the best you can do is climb quietly, but they're wrong. Because systems don't fear rebellion, they fear independent men, men who can walk away, who build outside the factory, who think without being told, who act without being approved. The man who owns his skills, owns his time, owns his mind is a threat to every machine built on passive obedience. But don't confuse this with chaos. This isn't about burning it all down, it's about outgrowing the box they built for you. Creating value on your own terms, speaking in a voice that wasn't written by PR, being useful without being used. This is not ideology, it's survival, because the age of the replaceable man is not coming, it's here. The resume is scanned by AI, your job is automated, your data is the product, Your face is a statistic. And when you're gone, you're deleted faster than a click. No statue, no legacy, just an empty desk and another man wearing your lanyard, unless you choose something different, unless you stop asking, how can I fit? And start asking, what can I build that no one else can touch? Because when the system makes everyone the same, the man who dares to be different becomes invaluable. But only if he's willing to pay the price to not belong, to not blend, to not be safe. Because safety is the soft coffin. And mass systems are the quiet pallbearers. You are not a function. You are not a barcode. You are not a line on a spreadsheet. You are a man, and a man who remembers that becomes something no system can handle free. He got the job, he pays his bills, he smiles in photos, but inside he knows he's nothing. The system didn't crush him, it made him comfortable, gave him weekends, a salary, a couch, and he took the deal. Security over sovereignty, stability over strength, pleasure over purpose. He traded his hunger for a habit, his edge for a screen, his power for peace, the kind of peace that slowly kills you. He wakes up tired. Not from labor but from meaninglessness. He feels numb but can't say why. So he scrolls, he shops, he snacks, he cares himself into sedation. This is not a man in crisis. This is a man in a coma. He's not falling apart. He's fading quietly because the comfort is just enough to stop him from changing, but never enough to satisfy him. He's not broke, but he's broken because everything he owns him back. He doesn't build, he upgrades, he doesn't lead, he reacts, he doesn't dare, he delays. This is the new failure, not dramatic collapse, but quiet decay. The body stays alive, but the will dies first. They say he's doing well, but watch him when no one's around. You'll see the truth in his eyes. Dead, drifting, dull, because a man can't thrive in a world that doesn't need him, and this world doesn't. It just wants him soft, predictable, harmless. A man with no mission is easy to control. He doesn't resist, because resistance would mean he believes in something, and he doesn't, not really. He believes in comfort. But comfort is not belief. It's a drug, and he's addicted to easy dopamine, to passive approval, to short-term pleasure. He laughs at those who try harder, because their effort threatens his apathy. So he mocks drive, mistrusts ambition, redefines laziness as balance, but deep down, he knows he is not balanced, he is benched, he doesn't command anything, not his thoughts, not his body, not his future. He is not dangerous to anyone, not even to himself, because danger requires will. He has none. He has opinions but no conviction. He has knowledge but no application. He has potential but no pressure. He is soft because nothing hard ever touches him. He avoids pain, so he avoids growth. He avoids effort, so he avoids evolution. He says he's fine, but fine is just failure in slow motion, because life never asked him to rise. Only to exist, and he accepted. The system didn't break him. It gave him everything except a reason to fight, and without that reason a man dissolves, because comfort is a sedative, and sedatives numb your instinct. The instinct to protect, to build, to rise, to hunt, to lead. You don't need a war to awaken that. You just need to stop lying to yourself. You are not fulfilled. You are just distracted. You are not happy. You are just entertained. You are not peaceful. You are just too tired to care. That is not power. That is sedation. And a sedated man is the easiest to dispose of. He won't fight. He won't flee. He won't even notice. He'll sit there, quietly fading, while the world moves on. And when he's gone, they'll replace him with another just like him, smiling, trained, tamed. Because if you don't choose to matter, you'll be forgotten by design. They don't need to kill men anymore. They just convince them to kill their own fire. Give them enough likes, enough pizza, enough video games, and they'll hand over their thrones without a whisper. But here's the truth: no system, no boss, no government can ever give a man power. They can only give him options. It's what he chooses that makes him powerful, and most have chosen the easy path, the one with pillows and sedatives and applause, the path of no pain, no edge, no weight, but also no legacy, no roar, no soul. You want power, you want to escape the cage, then stop asking for comfort and start choosing consequence, because only the man who chooses struggle can ever earn the right to rise. And only when you feel your own weight can the world finally feel you. Comfort stole his strength, now he must steal it back, not by asking, but by willing. A man who fades must choose to return. No one will come looking, no one will knock on his door, no one will say, "Hey, we miss your fire," because the world doesn't need him until he decides to make himself needed. He cannot beg for purpose. He must build it, from discipline, from refusal, from the raw materials of his own pain. He must decide not once, but daily, because irrelevance is gravity. It pulls, it whispers, "Relax, take it slow, you deserve a break." And every time he listens, he slides deeper into the fog. The only way out, force, will, not the kind in motivational slogans, the kind that bleeds, that sacrifices, that breaks habits like bones and reshapes them without mercy. No one can give him relevance. Because relevance is not inherited, it is forged by the man who refuses to be ignored, who walks into the arena uninvited, who speaks when silence is safer, who builds when others wait. But let's be clear, this isn't about shouting louder. It's about standing firmer, not noise. Wait, the man who matters is not always the loudest. He is the one who moves when it's hard, who decides when others hesitate, who acts without applause. This is will. Not talent, not luck, not networking, just one thing: I will train, I will rise, I will not vanish quietly into convenience. Most men are waiting for motivation, for clarity, for permission. But the man of will doesn't wait, he creates. He doesn't ask, "What's the best time to start?" He starts now, unprepared, uncomfortable, unstoppable, because that's what will is: movement through resistance. Action without comfort, discipline without dopamine. He rewires himself, not by dreaming, but by doing when he doesn't want to. Every rep, every hard choice, every early morning, every conversation he doesn't want to have, that's where relevance is reborn. Not in fantasy, in friction. You want power back, then learn to love the burn, the boredom, the grind, because every moment you choose growth over ease, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You rise from the disposable. You reject sedation, you return to form, and form is earned through scars, through strain, through still showing up when the mood is gone. That's where most men fail. They follow feelings, not values. Not vows, but the man of will is loyal to one thing, the mission, not his mood, not the weather, not his comfort, the mission. And when he forgets, he remembers through motion. He gets up, he does the work. He repeats until it becomes identity, because relevance is not found, it's fought for, not with violence, but with absolute commitment to becoming irreplaceable. A man is relevant when he's the one they call at midnight. When problems come looking for him, because he solves them, not with noise, but with capacity. You want to matter, then build capacity, in mind, in body, in spirit, because if you can't carry weight, you are decoration. And this world doesn't need decoration. It needs men who can lift, responsibility, risk, reality, men who say, "Give it to me, I've got it," and mean it. That's will, and it's rare, which is exactly why it's valuable. But here's the part: no one says it never gets easy. It just gets normal. The pain becomes familiar, the work becomes sacred, the cost becomes a badge, and one day you look around and realize you are no longer waiting to be chosen. You have chosen yourself, and the world finally adjusts, because when a man wills himself back to relevance, he doesn't rejoin the system, he rewrites it. You've willed yourself back into motion, but motion isn't enough. Now you must choose. Will you be another one or the only one? The world is full of men who show up, but few who cannot be replaced, because showing up is entry level, but becoming essential, that's war. You can follow orders, or you can become the one who gives them. Not from ego, but from earned weight. Irreplaceability is not about fame, it's about force, the kind of force that bends outcomes, that shapes rooms, that gets remembered when you're not there. And here's the truth they never say: you're not born irreplaceable. You choose it. You choose it by becoming the man who knows what others don't, who does what others avoid, who masters what others neglect. Because the average man avoids pressure, the irreplaceable man hunts it. He seeks friction, he embraces boredom, he devours repetition until it bends to him. He says, "Give me the problem no one wants, I'll take it." That is where he earns his name. Because in a world addicted to ease, the man who does what's hard becomes the man they can't ignore. He does not beg for recognition. He becomes too valuable to overlook. That's the law, not of fairness, of utility. The man who solves pain becomes power. You want respect, solve problems, you want leverage. Be the one who delivers under pressure. You want to matter, be missed when you're gone. But most won't do this, because it requires one thing: depth, and we live in a surface world, where men chase novelty. Quick wins, short highs, zero weight. They switch passions monthly, they pivot weekly, they commit to nothing and wonder why nothing sticks. Irreplaceable men are not built in trends, they are built in trenches. In the quiet hours, in the lonely reps, in the brutal mastery of one thing until it breaks, the weak man says, I want balance. The irreplaceable man says, give me obsession, I'll build from it. Because obsession creates edge. And edge creates separation, and separation is what makes you unmatched. You cannot be irreplaceable if you're similar, you must be other, singular, polarizing if necessary, because sameness is safe, but it's also disposable. You were not made to be a copy, you were made to be a category of one, and that comes with cost. You will be misunderstood, you will be doubted, you will be alone, because no one can follow a path that's never been walked. But that's the point. Irreplaceable men don't follow, they forge. They don't fit the system, they become the exception to it. They are not the rule, they are the limit, the edge of what's possible. You want to be that? Then you must get used to not being liked, to not being invited, to not being chosen because you already chose yourself, and that's terrifying for those who haven't. Irreplaceable men don't chase love. They create gravity. People orbit them not out of charm but out of necessity, because when you are the one who can do what matters most, they need you, not because you begged for it, because you built it. And that's the final law. They can only discard what they can replace, so build what cannot be copied, speak what cannot be repeated, live how no one else has the will to, be the man whose absence becomes a problem. Not with noise, not with branding, but with unmatched capacity. Master something so deeply that you disappear from competition, that you shift from option to foundation. Because once you cross that line, they no longer compare you. They calculate how to keep you. That is irreplaceability. And in a world built to forget you, it's the only form of immortality left.